What happens when the person everyone buried alive comes back and they're done being buried? This is the story of Fang Shiyuan, and every debt gets paid in full. 18 years ago, a baby was switched, or rather, abandoned, and a stranger's child was placed in the cradle. That should have held the Zhang family's firstborn son. For 18 years, Zhang Yinyue lived inside that lie, and he was very, very good at it. He had 5 sisters who adored him, a father who indulged him, a mother who shielded him from every inconvenience, and a room on the 2nd floor with an imported cashmere carpet from abroad. And somewhere out there, the real eldest son of the Zhang family was growing up hungry, wearing rags, rolling in the mud. That real son is Fang Shiyuan, and he remembers everything, not just from this life, either. He lived through all of this once before, in a past life that ended with a knife in his side, held by a hand that belonged to his own eldest sister. The knife had been handed to her by Zhang Yinyue himself. So when Fang Shiyuan comes back, he isn't here to beg for scraps from a family that never wanted him. He is here to take apart every single thing Zhang Yinyue has built, piece by careful piece. And standing beside him, the only person alive who knows the truth of his rebirth, Shen Wanqing. Sharp-eyed, unreadable, and quietly devastating. She is his closest friend and his most dangerous ally. The Zhang family has no idea what walked through their door. On Fang Shiyuan's very first day back at the Zhang family mansion, they lock him out at the front gate. This is Zhang Yinyue's opening move, deliberate, calculated, designed to humiliate. He positions himself behind his 5 sisters and lets them be the wall. Fang Shiyuan stands at the gate and knocks. No one answers. He knocks again. Silence. Then he looks around, finds a fire axe, and swings it clean through the gate without a moment's hesitation. Inside, the Zhang family watches it happen on the security cameras, and every single one of them goes. Still, Fang Shiyuan hoists the axe onto his shoulder and walks straight in, calm as someone returning from a morning stroll. Zhang Yinyue is standing behind the sisters, his face drained of color. The 5 sisters step forward to shield him, eyes cold, words already loaded and ready. Eldest sister Zhang Wanxia fires first. That door, she says, is worth 800,000. And who does a country nobody think he is? Third sister Zhang Manglin follows, 18 years, and he still failed to die out there. Fifth sister Zhang Yudong finishes. He should stay in the room they prepared, and never show his face again. Fang Shiyuan listens to all of it without flinching. His eyes settle on Zhang Wanxia, the woman who, in his past life, drove a knife into his side with her own hands. That look is enough to make her take a step backward without realizing it. He turns to the housekeeper. Annie Jin, take me to my room. Annie Jin looks at him like he's something unpleasant tracked in on a shoe. Who do you think you are? Fang Shiyuan smiles, and it is not a warm smile. In his past life, this woman made every day a small misery, so she is the first one he deals with. He walks over, grabs her by her tied-up hair, and yanks hard enough to bring her crashing to the floor. Then he drags her up the stairs, letting her slam into the walls on both sides, while informing everyone present that he wants the biggest room. The sisters erupt and chase him up. They find him standing in front of Zhang Yinyue's bedroom door with the fire axe raised. One swing, and the door comes down. Zhang Yinyue's fist clenched behind the others, the hatred in his eyes barely held behind his expression. Fang Shiyuan walks in, drops Annie Jin like discarded baggage, and announces, "This room is his now." And then Zhang Yinyue makes his move, the move that has always worked perfectly, on everyone around him. He reaches out and tugs at Zhang Wanxia's sleeve, voice soft and trembling with practiced hurt. He says he's not real Zhang blood. He says he grew up with love and that's enough. He says let Fang Shiyuan have the room. Every word is engineered to ignite the sisters' protectiveness and aim it like a weapon. It works exactly as planned. Zhang Wanxia's fury blazes. Third sister Manglin charges forward. But Fang Shiyuan has heard this honeyed manipulation before, in a different life, more times than he can count. He doesn't wait for the theater to play out. He steps forward and cracks his palm across Zhang Yinyue's face, that mask of false innocence shattering with the impact. The tears come instantly, fat and rolling, as if Zhang Yinyue is the most wrong person in the world. The sisters surge toward Fang Shiyuan like a wave. Zhang Wanxia's manicured hand swings for his face, nails slicing through the air. He catches her wrist like a vice, returns the strike across her cheek, and puts a sidekick into her stomach that sends her crashing into second sister. Zhang Jia behind her. Both of them go down in a heap. Zhang Yinyuo tries his next play, voice breaking, arms spread, begging Fang Shiyuan to take his grievances out on him instead. Fang Shiyuan closes his hand around Zhang Yinyuo's throat, lifts him until his toes leave the floor, and delivers the clean slaps in quick succession. A rush of long-forgotten satisfaction floods through him. The remaining sisters launch themselves forward. Third sister Mengling snatches a crystal vase from nearby and brings it down toward Fang Shiyuan's head. He steps back and yanks Zhang Yinyuo forward, directly into the path of the blow. Crash! The vase connects squarely with Zhang Yinyuo's skull. Blood seeps between his fingers as he clutches his head, and Fang Shiyuan watches with an ice-cold smile. Well, looks like someone's head is blooming. The chaos that follows is exactly as satisfying as he imagined. Giant Wangxia is scrambling to her feet, calling for a first aid kit, while second sister Zhangjia, the family's doctor, takes charge. And then the front door opens and the rest of the Zhang family walks in. Fang Shiyuan's so-called father, Zhang Shanyu, and the stepmother, who has always despised him, Suyu Weihua. Every player is now assembled. The game can begin in earnest. Suyu Weihua looks at her daughter's swollen face, looks at Zhang Yinyuo's blood-soaked head, and the fury inside her ignites to a full blaze. She tells Fang Shiyuan that if she had known he was this vicious, she would have strangled him at birth, and that as long as he stays in this house. When she says stand, he stands. When she says kneel, he kneels. Fang Shiyuan raises an eyebrow and offers to leave. He has no intention of leaving. This is his battlefield, and he isn't going anywhere until every debt is collected. But Zhang Shanyu cannot let him walk out that door, because standing behind Fang Shiyuan is a name that Zhang Shanyu has spent years dreaming of reaching, the Tang family of the capital. That connection is the stepping stone that could lift the Zhang family from a mid-tier name in City A to a real player in the capital's inner circle. He cannot let it go. He stops his wife mid-sentence, tells Fang Shiyuan to stay, calls him son. Fang Shiyuan doesn't turn around, but he doesn't take another step toward the door either. Of course he isn't actually leaving. Zhang Shanyu's hunger for the Tang family connection is his greatest protection, a shield the man built for him without knowing it. Zhang Shanyu then calls the family together and lays down the law. Fang Shiyuan is his biological son, and anyone who shuts him out or tells him to leave will face consequences. Then he announces the bedroom is Fang Shiyuan's. Zhang Yinyuo will move to the guest room next door. The sisters erupt. Zhang Yinyuo produces his most heartbreaking expression and says, with exquisite timing, that it is fine. If his brother wants it, he can have it. But Fang Shiyuan is not finished. He turns to Zhang Shanyu and, with a perfectly reasonable tone, points out that the room's worn furniture and outdated clothes don't suit the Zhang family's eldest young master. It would be embarrassing, really, to have people think the family raised him this way. Zhang Shanyu, who is already doing calculations involving the Tang family fortune, waves a hand. Tomorrow, they go shopping, replace everything, only the best. Suyu Weihua winces at the cost of the imported furniture she is about to watch get replaced with a single gesture. But one look at Zhang Shanyu's face leaves her no room to argue. That night, Fang Shiyuan sleeps soundly on the large soft bed that used to belong to Zhang Yinyuo. He can still faintly catch the other boy's scent on the sheets, but it doesn't trouble him. Soon enough, this space will belong entirely to him, and tomorrow, a new game is already waiting. He closes his eyes, and for the first time in a very long time, he has no dreams. Round 1, the bedroom, the title, and the furniture, all of it secured in under an hour. Zhang Yinyuo has lost his room, lost standing in his own house, and lost the easy confidence he has carried for 18 years. Up on the second floor, listening to Zhang Shanyu agree to the homecoming banquet that will announce the real eldest son's return and publicly reveal Zhang Yinyuo's status as an adopted child. The boy who has been king of this house presses his nails into his palms until the skin breaks. He endures. He waits. He tells himself this is not over, and he is right, but not in the way he imagines. The next morning, Fang Shiyuan comes downstairs sharp and refreshed to find the dining room arranged like a family portrait. Zhang Shanyu at the head of the table with his newspaper. Suyu Weihua tenderly placing a dumpling into Zhang Yinyuo's bowl. The sisters laughing warmly among themselves. Zhang Yinyuo, wearing a perfectly measured smile, the kind practiced in mirrors, calls across the room the moment he sees Fang Shiyuan. Good morning. Come eat. Bright. Considerate. as if yesterday never happened. Fang Shiyuan scans the table. No seat for him, of course. In his past life, he would have stood there like a beggar who had wandered into someone else's banquet, waiting for a servant to add a chair, and then one of the sisters would quietly pull the chair out the moment he went to sit, sending him crashing to the floor, turning him into the table's joke. He remembers. Instead, he walks straight over to Zhang Yinyuo, grabs him by the collar, and hauls him out of the chair. A startled cry breaks from Zhang Yinyuo. The sisters are on their feet in an instant. Fang Shiyuan shoves him backward, not hard enough to knock him down, just enough to send him stumbling several steps, then settles calmly into the vacated seat. He picks up Zhang Yinyuo's chopsticks, wrinkles his nose, and tosses them aside. When there isn't enough room at the table, the extra person should have the sense to stand. He picks up a fresh pair of chopsticks and lets the last few words hang in the air. Looking directly at Zhang Yinyuo, the extra person, Zhang Yinyuo's whole body trembles with the effort of holding himself together. Zhang Shanyu slaps his newspaper down hard enough to silence everyone, then declares again. Fang Shiyuan is his son, their brother, and that is not a subject for debate. The sister sees, so Yu Weihua swallows her words. Zhang Yinyuo stands frozen in the middle of the room. Then Fang Shiyuan, reading the mood with expert precision, leans forward and suggests, with just a thread of eagerness in his voice, that the family should hold a homecoming banquet, a proper one, so all of City A can know that the biological eldest son has returned. He puts heavy emphasis on the word biological. Every face in the room shifts. Every pair of eyes instinctively moves to Zhang Yinyuo. Zhang Yinyuo forces out a pale smile and says of course they should hold a banquet. He's glad his brother is home. Fang Shiyuan locks eyes with him, every inch of his expression an open provocation. And at the same time, we should let everyone know about Zhang Yinyuo's status as an adopted son. The room ignites. The sisters shout. Zhang Yinyuo's reddened eyes spill over. He turns to run upstairs. Stay. Fang Shiyuan stops him without raising his voice. The show is just getting started. The star can't leave now. Zhang Shanyu, after a moment of weighing the Tang family in one hand and Zhang Yinyuo's pain in the other, gives way. The homecoming banquet will go ahead. Fang Shiyuan's identity will be made public. Zhang Yinyuo's adoption status will be announced at the same time. Zhang Yinyuo finally breaks and runs upstairs in tears. The sisters try to follow. Zhang Shanyu stops them with a slap of his hand on the table. Fang Shiyuan helps himself to a little more food, then smiles across the table at Yu Weihua and extends his hand. Mom, I need money for shopping. That afternoon, they ride to the most upscale shopping center in City A. Yu Weihua, Zhang Yinyuo, and Fang Shiyuan. Zhang Yinyuo has come along under the pretense of helping choose. A really to perform closeness with Yu Weihua, reminiscing about childhood memories during the whole drive, laughing warmly, designed to make Fang Shiyuan feel like the outsider. In his past life, it might have stung. Now it sounds like the flies buzzing in his ear. Inside the shopping center, Fang Shiyuan heads straight for the luxury brands without a glance at anyone else, while Yu Weihua's hand trembles each time the card is swiped. Zhang Yinyuo watches every bag and box pile up and feels something inside him crack open. Because this kind of unlimited, take whatever you want treatment is something he has never once been given. Whenever he shopped, he always had to read moves, always had to appear sensible and frugal. He can't let this continue. He turns to Yu Weihua with gentle concern, suggests she must be exhausted from all the walking, that they should find somewhere to rest. Fang Shiyuan cuts across him before Yu Weihua can respond. Nobody asked you to come. If you're tired, go home. Don't kill the mood. Zhang Yinyuo's eyes redden instantly. He waves his hands frantically. He just meant well. He just worried about Mom. The performance lands exactly as he designed it. Yu Weihua turns on Fang Shiyuan. Fang Shiyuan holds up the black card Zhang Shanyu gave him and lets it catch the light. I'm the eldest young master of the Zhang family. Why should I know when to stop? You owe me 18 years. A few clothes is nothing. Then he adds, almost pleasantly, if she's so tired, she can go home. And he'll call his father to come settle the rest of the bill. Both Yu Weihua and Zhang Yinyuo's faces darken at once. She swallows her fury and keeps walking. Inside one flagship store, Yu Weihua quietly nudges Zhang Yinyuo to go pick a few things for himself. He declines a few times for appearances, then browses. Then comes out in a white shirt and turns in front of the mirror with a hopeful smile. Mom, does it look good? Beautiful. Our Yinyuo looks good in everything. she says with open warmth. Fang Shiyuan steps out of his own fitting room at exactly the right moment. Sharp black biker jacket, deep crimson shirt, presence filling the room like a lit match. He looks Zhang Yinyuo up and down without mercy, shoulders to narrow, height to short. That white shirt makes him look like a child who wandered into his father's wardrobe. Zhang Yinyuo trembles with humiliation. Why are you humiliating me like this? Telling the truth is humiliation now. Fang Shiyuan pulls him in front of the floor-length mirror and points at their two reflections. One delicate but frail, one sharp-featured and fully commanding. Look for yourself. Did I say anything wrong? He lets him go with a firm pat on the shoulder. Some things can't be forced, little brother. Presence, for one. Zhang Yinyuo is so furious he nearly blacks out. And then three voices cut through the store from the entrance. Fang area, by Qingxi and Situ Nana, Zhang Yinyuo's classmates and devoted admirers. Daughters of families with standing. And three people who helped him humiliate Fang Shiyuan in the past life. More times than he can count. They see Zhang Yinyuo's reddened eyes, immediately decide someone is responsible. And their gazes land on Fang Shiyuan without warmth. By Qingxi, with a personality as sharp as her mother's ambition, steps forward with open mockery, an adopted child bullying the real young master. Absolutely disgraceful. Situ Nana adds her passive sweetness. Too many shameless people who can't read their place in the world. Zhang Yinyuo plays the peacemaker, pushing them toward the exit, his pleading only convincing them further that he is being mistreated. Fang Shiyuan steps into the doorway and blocks their path. What's the rush? These are my brother's friends. His older brother should get acquainted. Fang Area steps forward with an air of authority. She reminds him who the real young master of the Zhang family is. Reminds him an adopted son shouldn't reach for things that were never his. Fang Shiyuan's gaze moves past her and lands squarely on Zhang Yinyuo, making sure every person in the store hears what comes next. Zhang Yinyuo, as the adopted son, take your friend's advice to heart. An adopted son shouldn't reach for what was never his. He lets the words sit in the air. Remember who the true eldest young master of the Zhang family is. The room goes silent. Zhang Yinyuo is bloodless. Fang Area and the others stand with their mouths open. Fang Shiyuan pulls out his phone, dials Zhang Shanyu, and puts it on speaker, and with just the right thread of hurt in his voice, describes everything. His wife, his daughters, his adopted son's friends, all of them united against the real son, none of them accepting him. He ends the call before Zhang Shanyu can respond. Zhang Shanyu's call hits Suyu Weihua's phone seconds later, his roar audible across the entire store. In the end, under direct orders, Suyu Weihua and Zhang Yinyuo are forced to apologize to Fang Shiyuan in front of Fang Area and her friends and to publicly reaffirm his status as the eldest young master. The three women cycle through shades of pale and flushed. The looks they give Zhang Yinyuo carry something new, complicated, searching, no longer entirely certain. The image he spent years carefully building has been torn apart, piece by piece. In a single afternoon, Fang Shiyuan tells the store assistant to have everything delivered to the Zhang residence, then walks out without a backward glance. Outside, a sleek black car waits at the curb, understated and commanding. The window rolls down to reveal a face of striking beauty with a wild edge underneath. Shen Wanqing, get in. I've got something worth watching. The car pulls away from the curb, smooth and quiet. Through the window, Fang Shiyuan can see the full group, Zhang Yinyuo, Suyu Weihua, Fang Area, Ba Qingxi, Situ Nana, and the two sisters who arrived moments later, all standing outside the mall entrance. Then, several figures shoot out from the crowd like ghosts, objects already in hand. Before anyone can react, they hurl the contents directly at the group. Shrill, terrified screaming tears through the open air above the shopping district. It is sewage. Not one of them is spared. Soaked from head to toe, filth clinging to their hair, their faces, their expensive clothes, and phones come out everywhere as the crowd scatters, and the footage begins to spread. Inside the car, Shen Wanqing hands Fang Shiyuan a cup of milk tea and grins like a fox. Satisfied with your welcome home gift, he watches the scene through the glass, chaotic, reeking, utterly humiliating, and lets a cold, deeply satisfying smile pull at the corner of his mouth. Well done. This is only the beginning, Zhang Yinyuo. By the time he gets back to the Zhang family villa that night, the footage is everywhere. High definition, multi-angle, close-up. Already pinned to the top of the campus forum, and every local hotspot platform Shen Wanqing's people could reach. The comments describe being able to smell the video through their screens. Zhang Shanyu is sitting alone in the living room with a face like a storm. When Fang Shiyuan walks in, the rest of the family is nowhere to be seen, still upstairs, probably, scrubbing with soap and fury in equal measure. Fang Shiyuan sniffs the air and frowns thoughtfully. What's that smell? Something's off in here. Then, as if something just clicked, Dad, did you eat dinner with them tonight? Zhang Shanyu's throat moves involuntarily. Fang Shiyuan puts on an expression of deep, sincere admiration. Impressive. I genuinely respect you. Eating a full meal with that smell at the table. Just picturing it turns my stomach. Every word drives deeper into whoever is hiding nearby, listening, and something in Zhang Shanyu's stomach turns despite himself. Dad, haven't you seen what's all over the internet? Zhang Yinyo went from campus heartthrob to sewage prince overnight. I'd love to see how he shows his face at school tomorrow. The color drains from Zhang Shanyu's face. He tells Fang Shiyuan to stop provoking them. Fang Shiyuan gives a short, scornful laugh. I provoked them. They were snapping at me like mad dogs. Whatever came down on them, they brought it on themselves. What does any of that have to do with me? He heads upstairs without interest in continuing. At the corner of the second-floor landing, he runs directly into Zhang Yinyo, fresh from the shower, hair still dripping, face pale and eyes red and swollen. The moment Zhang Yinyo sees him, his body goes rigid. Fang Shiyuan covers his nose and takes the deliberate steps backward, his face a portrait of disgust. Stay away from me. How many times have you washed and you still smell like that? Has it soaked into your skin? Zhang Yinyo trembles with humiliation. His teeth are on the edge of grinding to dust. Eldest sister Zhang Wangxia appears from nearby, freshly showered and just as furious, jabbing her finger at Fang Shiyuan's face. It was him. It had to be him. He's a jinx. Fang Shiyuan spreads both hands, all innocence, evidence, Zhang Wangxia. Fang area is the deputy mayor's daughter. An incident this big will have the police involved. Do you have proof, or have all of you just spent along offending people? They call it karma. She is left speechless and glaring, reduced to dragging the tearful Zhang Yinyo back to her room. Fang Shiyuan watches their backs disappear and smiles coldly. They are barely getting started. The next morning, the dining room atmosphere is heavier than the day before. Dark circles under every eye. Haggard faces all around. The sound of cutlery quieter than it should be. Fang Shiyuan sits down in Zhang Yinyo's usual seat without a word. A servant scurries over with fresh cutlery, visibly nervous. No one says a word. He lets his gaze drift to Zhang Yinyo's pale, fragile face and says pleasantly, Zhang Yinyo. Zhang Yudong, are you going to school today? You've seen the campus forum, I assume. Both of them stiffen at the exact same moment. You're celebrities now, the sewage prince and the sewage princess. If I were you, I wouldn't have the face to show up anywhere. Zhang Yinyo bites down on his lip hard enough to nearly draw blood. Zhang Yudong snaps her head up, slams her hand on the table, and shoots to her feet. Fang Shiyuan cuts across her before she can get a word out, his gaze going cold. Zhang Yudong, did the sewage damage your brain? Did I tell him to stand there and let people throw things at him? He sets down his chopsticks and stands. The physical presence of it alone is enough to make Zhang Yudong take half a step back. Without thinking, he sweeps his gaze across everyone at the table, including a pale-faced Yue Hua. I didn't come back here to take grief from any of you. Anyone who makes my life difficult will have me making theirs difficult for the rest of theirs. If anyone doubts that, feel free to try. The words aren't loud, but they drop the temperature in the room by several degrees. He pushes back his chair, calls for the car, and heads to school. Behind him, the dining room is completely silent, except for Zhang Yinyo, who stares at his retreating back with poison in his eyes. Just wait, he thinks. Let's see how arrogant you are once we're at school. Xincheng High School, the finest private high school in the city, gathering the sons and daughters of nearly every powerful family in town. The name tugs the corner of Fang Shiyuan's mouth up slightly and puts a cold gleam in his eye because his memories of this school from his past life run very deep. The black car pulls up at the school gates. He steps out, bag slung over one shoulder, brand new school uniform somehow managing to look wild and commanding on him in a way that sets him apart from every pampered student around him. Stares follow him from the moment he arrives, and the whispers are already running. That's the real Zhang-san. They just brought back Fang Shiyuan. He looks like trouble. Zhang Yinyo really picked the wrong fight this time. The corner of Fang Shiyuan's mouth curves slightly. Shen Wanqing never disappoints. Zhang Yinyuo and Zhang Yudong arrive and immediately close in. Yinyuo wearing warmth that doesn't reach his eyes, reaching for Fang Shiyuan's arm to offer to take him to the admin office. Fang Shiyuan steps aside. No need. I know where it is. Zhang Yinyuo's hand freezes in midair. The smile stays, but something dark flickers underneath it. In the admin office, the teacher assigned to receive him is a middle-aged woman in gold-rimmed glasses, who looks like she was born with a sour expression. She looks him over with the practiced condescension of someone who has already made up her mind. You're in year 3, class 1, our top academic class. I expect you to follow the rules and not drag the class down. She puts deliberate weight on those last words. The message is clear enough. Fang Shiyuan takes the timetable, turns to leave, stops at the door, and glances back. Teacher Zheng, you have something in your teeth. Teacher Zheng's hand flies to cover her mouth, her face flooding red. He lets the corner of his mouth curl and walks out. He barely reaches the base of the main building with 3 tall guys in basketball jerseys. Block his path. The one in front, buzz cut, mean look, basketball team captain, Fang area's most devoted lapdog. Shilei, word is you've got quite an attitude, Shilei says, stepping close and trying to use his height as pressure. He is, unfortunately, slightly shorter than Fang Shiyuan. Warning you, stay away from Zhang Yinyuo and Fang area, or you'll regret it. Fang Shiyuan smiles, the kind that carries contempt and mockery in equal measure. Make me regret it, you? He steps forward until they are nearly nose to nose, and before Shilei can finish his next sentence, catches the jabbing finger midair and snaps it sharply backward. A crack rings out that makes everyone nearby wince. Shilei screams and doubles over. Fang Shiyuan releases the finger while Shilei is still grimacing, drives a kick into his stomach. As Shilei's near to meet her friend goes flying, crashing into the flower bed behind him, curling into a ball. The other 2 companions stop dead in their tracks and stare, no longer moving. Anyone else? They shake their heads rapidly and say nothing. The students gathered around are stunned silent, look full of something close to fear. Fang Shiyuan dusts off his hands, turns, and heads straight for the year 3 building. He reaches the classroom door and hears a familiar voice already in full lecture mode inside. Zhang Wangxia. She is the physics teacher for year 3, class 1, and she is in the middle of telling her students that having connections does not give anyone the right to do whatever they please, and that whatever filth belongs out on the street should stay there. Every word is aimed. Her sharp gaze cuts straight to the door the moment Fang Shiyuan steps through. He meets her cold stare without a trace of nerves. If anything, there's the faintest hint of a smile on his lips. She tries to call him late, despite there being a full minute left before the bell. He points out that by her logic, half the students already seated should also be marked late. Muffled laughter from inside the classroom. She points him to the worst seat in the room, back row, beside the waste bin, and tells him not to disturb the others. He shrugs, indifferent, and makes his way there under a mix of sympathetic and entertained stares. As he passes Zhang Yinyuo, Yinyuo murmurs with surface concern and quiet triumph underneath. Don't take it personally. Teacher Zhang is just strict. Fang Shiyuan ignores him. The lesson begins, electromagnetic induction. Genuinely challenging material, and Zhang Wangxia teaches with real ability, while her eyes drift toward Fang Shiyuan at every opportunity, carrying undisguised scrutiny and contempt. Then she writes a competition-level problem on the board and calls volunteers. The class quiets. It's genuinely difficult, multiple concepts tangled together. Zhang Yinyuo's brow furrows as he works through it. He is the class physics representative. Consistently at the top, Zhang Wangxia's gaze sweeps the room and lands on Fang Shiyuan with a barely perceptible cold smile. She invites him to the board, tone layered with provocation, with the anticipation of watching someone embarrass themselves publicly. Every eye in the class finds him. A flicker of satisfaction crosses Zhang Yinyuo's eyes. A boy from the countryside solving a competition problem. It won't happen. Everyone expects him to back down. Instead, Fang Shiyuan sets down his pen, stands, and walks to the front. He picks up the chalk and begins writing. Almost no pause, pen never stopping. The approach is elegant, clean, each step more precise than the one before. The chalk moves across the board with a crisp, rhythmic sound, as if tapping against each person's chest. The classroom is completely silent. Only the chalk remains. The cold smile on Zhang Wangxia's face has dissolved, replaced by raw shock. The approach is more elegant than the reference solution she had in mind. Zhang Yinyuo's eyes are wide, locked on the blackboard, every trace of color gone from his face. Under 3 minutes, the final answer is circled. Fang Shiyuan sets down the chalk, dusts off his hands, and looks at Zhang Wangxia. Teacher Zhang, is it correct? She stares at the complete, flawless solution. Her mouth opens and closes. Nothing comes out. Then someone starts clapping, and the applause spreads, scattered at first, then warm and genuine. These top students may sideline a transfer student, may enjoy watching one fail, but real ability is something they still recognize and respect. Zhang Wangxia finally finds her voice and forces a recovery. Sit down. Don't let one problem go to your head. In his past life, they had sabotaged his college entrance exam. In the years of drifting that followed, he had taught himself university-level physics alone, made real progress in certain areas of the field. A high school competition problem is nothing. He walks back to his seat, unhurried, under a classroom full of looks that no longer see just a kid from the countryside. When the bell rings, Zhang Wangxia leaves the classroom, looking very much like someone fleeing. Zhang Yudong is waiting for Fang Shiyuan in the hallway, furious, demanding to know what he did to her sister, warning him to stay away from Wangxia and Yinyuo or she'll make him regret it. That line again. Fang Shiyuan steps into her space. Zhang Yudong, have you already forgotten this morning's lesson? Or are you looking for your own turn to be put in your place in public? The physical pressure of his height drains the color from her face. She bites down, throws out a "this isn't over," grabs Zhang Yinyuo beside her, and walks quickly away. Fang Shiyuan watches them go, gaze unreadable. Zhang Yinyuo, this is only the beginning. Whatever you care about, I will take apart. Your grades, your reputation, the sister's devotion. I will grind all of it down piece by piece. At lunch, he slips away from the crowd and makes his way to the school rooftop. Shen Wanqing is already there, the elegant lunch boxes in hand. First blood drawn. She smiles and holds one out. I heard you wipe the floor with that teacher. Small victory. Zhang Wangxia is just the beginning. They lean against the railing and eat, looking out over the whole campus below, while Shen Wanqing reports in. The campus forum is running hot. Zhang Yinyuo and the others haven't shown their faces anywhere public today. Then she mentioned something else. The Fang family and the Sichu family are still throwing money at finding the phantom healer, the mysterious figure behind Main Hall, whose medicine Sichu Nana's mother depends on to survive. Sichuji's offer has already tripled. Fang Shiyuan takes a sip of water. Tell them the phantom healer isn't taking visitors, and send a little gift to Deputy Mayor Fang. Little gift, a detailed file on his beloved son. High-stakes gambling at overseas casinos and suspected money laundering. Let him find out what it feels like to have his hands full of fires. Shen Wanqing smiles. Understood. Consider it done. Then his phone vibrates, an encrypted message through a special channel, routed through the deep web. The sender, Zhang Yudong. She is reaching out to a figure known only as Dark Ace, one of the most capable operators on the deep web, begging for help deleting the posts on the campus forum. The posts cannot be removed. The back-end permissions have been tampered with. She has tried everything and failed. She asks with barely concealed desperation, offering to pay whatever it takes. Fang Shiyuan reads the message and can almost picture her at her screen, pulling her hair out. The defense and anti-deletion system on the campus forum is something he had set up casually the night before. That Zhang Yudong managed to detect the permission tampering at all shows some ability, but breaking through it is another matter entirely. Dark Ace replies at his leisure, 500 crypto, payment first, solution after. Her response comes quickly, 500 crypto, is there any room to negotiate? He closes the message window. She doesn't have the standing to haggle with Dark Ace. Shen Wanqing leans over and glances at the screen. Nobody squeezes them dry quite like you. She brought it on herself. Then his voice becomes thoughtful. Still, she found me, which means she has real ability. Someone taught her, or she has deeper connections I haven't mapped yet. He shakes his head. Not yet. She's more useful to me alive and intact for now. All afternoon, Feng area and the others huddle and whisper. After school, Bai Qingji leaves the classroom first, which means the others are staying behind, which means a trap. Fang Shiyuan tells Shen Wanqing to head to the cafeteria first, and she doesn't question it. He walks to the rooftop like he chose it himself, because he did. Feng area's group wanted him alone, and now they have him. And there are 6 of them plus for male classmates Zhang Yinyuo recruited for the occasion. Zhang Yinuo shuts the rooftop door. Fang Area tells him he'll find out soon enough what happens when he crosses them. Fang Shiyuan doesn't blink. Don't waste my time. Come at once. The four guys move first. He puts them down one by one. No hesitation, no mercy. The watching group feels the first genuine stab of unease. Then Fang Shiyuan goes on the offensive, one slap each, knocking them all to the ground in quick succession. Working through the group with methodical calm, Zhang Yudong, keeping watch outside, hears something is wrong and hammers on the door. He lets her in, pulls her inside, and shuts the door again. She looks at everyone laid out on the floor, and the fury pours out of her. And then hears the quiet hum of electric clippers. He holds them up and gives a small wave. This is my first time cutting hair, but I picked up some technique. I'll try to keep my hands steady. Bai Qingxi bursts into tears. Please, not my hair. I'm begging you. He looks at her coolly. Would you prefer eating Fang Area's hair instead? The crying stops instantly. He goes through them one by one, unhurried and thorough, Zhang Yudong included. When it is done, he photographs the results from several angles, washes his hands, and speaks to Zhang Yinuo across the room. Didn't I tell you to stay away from me? 2 days in, and you still haven't learned. Everything that happened to them today is on you. In his past life, this group had been perfectly united in making his a misery. Now he wants to see whether that unity still holds. In the cafeteria, Shen Wanqing has already filled a tray with his favorites. He hands her the phone. She looks at the photos. Impressive work, Fang Shiyuan. You truly are ahead of your time. Before they can finish their meal, the school intercom crackles. Fang Shiyuan of Year 3, Class 1, report to the principal's office immediately. Then again, faster and more urgent. They finish eating before they bother moving, strolling over at their own pace. Inside the principal's office, Fang Area's father, Sechuji, Bai Lily, and all the parents have arrived. Zhang Shanyu is there too, surrounded by an angry wall of people. Principal Lin is wiping cold sweat from his forehead. Fang Area's father slams his hand on the desk. What kind of school is this, that it takes this long to bring in one student? The door to the principal's office opens with a kick. Fang Wang is standing closest and has no time to move. The door hits him squarely. Fang Shiyuan walks in at his leisure and sits directly in the principal's chair. The moment they see him, Fang Area and the others surge forward with renewed boldness. Parents at their backs, each one suddenly much braver. He grabs the teacup from the desk and slams it to the floor. The room goes quiet. Zhang Shanyu, looking at the chaos, tells Fang Shiyuan to kneel and apologize. Fang Shiyuan gives a short, dismissive laugh. Apologize? Are you joking? He surveys the room. Before you ask me to apologize, shouldn't you ask why I went after them in the first place? Bai Lily is first to speak. Do you have any idea how important someone's hair is? Why didn't you go to a teacher? The principal is in your pocket, Fang Shiyuan says pleasantly. And if going to teachers did any good, the students they bullied before this wouldn't have had to transfer out. He holds up Shen Wanqing's phone. Years of documented evidence of Fang Area and her group bullying other students. Organized and thorough. One glance is enough to drain the warmth from Feng Guang and the others. He could have held this back. It still had uses down the line. But today's goal is different. Deputy Mayor Feng, no need to panic. All I want today is an apology. Feng Guang immediately pulls his child forward. Feng Area resists. Her father presses her head down into a bow. The other parents follow. But Fang Shiyuan watches the grudging bows and feels his eyes go colder. A verbal apology is meaningless. In his past life, when they had helped Zhang Yinuo torment him, they had forced him to his knees and made him bow his head more times than he could count. He wants every one of them to know exactly what that floor feels like. Kneel and apologize. The words land in the room like a grenade. Fang Area's eyes go red with fury. In your dreams. Bai Lily squares up. Don't push this too far. Sechuji speaks up with recovered confidence. Ming Hall is one of the biggest names in medicine. Beyond ordinary reach, with a phantom healer behind it. People with real power have gone there on their knees, and some who tried to push their weight around were simply gone the next day. She says Shen Wanqing has no authority over them. But the moment Shen Wanqing ends a brief phone call, both Sechuji's and Feng Wang's phones buzz. A message from Ming Hall, terminating their business relationship with both families. Effective immediately. Sechuji's voice loses every trace of hardness. This is all a misunderstanding. We'll apologize. Shen Wanqing looks at them with flat, unhurried cold. Kneel, otherwise. The Situ family and the Fang family cease to exist. Bai Lily grabs Bai Qingxi by the arm, slaps her once across the face, and tells her, kneel. If you don't kneel today, get out of this family. I have no daughter like you. The calculation is simple. Offending Ming Hao means the Bai family's ambitions in the capital collapse, or worse. The family itself is destroyed. Bai Qingxi drops to her knees with a thud, and one by one, the others follow, each grinding out their words through clenched teeth. Then the Fertagalong classmates are summoned over the intercom, arrive expecting a conversation, walk in, and find everyone already on their knees. They rub their eyes in disbelief. Fang Shiyuan looks at them calmly, kneel and apologize. The sooner this is done, the sooner we all get back to class. They drop obediently, hating every second. When it's over, Fang Shiyuan turns his gaze to Principal Lin. Fang Area's group had bullied students at this school for years. Those students came to this office. He covered for the bullies every single time. Do you leave on your own, or do we show you out? Principal Lin looks to Feng Guang for rescue. Feng Guang squares his shoulders with a sudden air of moral authority and announces he will be joining the other parents to report the principal's misconduct. Shen Wanqing and Fang Shiyuan walk out. Back in the classroom, the campus forum post goes up, Feng Area and the others' new hairstyles. Full names, class numbers, high definition. The comments pouring. Students who had been quietly suffering for years discover that someone finally put these people in their place. The consensus is unanimous. Karma is real. The fallout ripples outward in every direction. Situ-ji, cut off from Ming Hao's medicine, is nearly punished within an inch of her life by her own family because without that medicine, the marriage alliance between the Situ and Feng families begins to weaken. Bai Qingxi's father rushes home and beats her for costing the family their chance at the capital. Zhang Yudong is summoned home, and when the sisters see what has been done to her and to Zhang Yinyuo's hair, they erupt. Then Zhang Shengyu strikes Zhang Yinyuo twice across the face, an act that stuns the entire room. He tells all of them, in the strongest terms, Fang Shiyuan is connected to Ming Hao, and anyone who antagonizes him again should not expect to be protected. Second sister Zhang Jia, president of the Zhang family company, dreaming of breaking into the capital, hears the words Ming Hao and feels her eyes light up. She immediately declares the family should treat Fang Shiyuan properly and make him feel welcome. Zhang Yinyuo stares at her, unable to believe what he is hearing. They had all promised he would always be their only brother. How many days has it even been? A cold panic begins spreading through him. Zhang Wangxia makes a meaningful cough. At fourth sister Zhang Jia seems to remember Zhang Yinyuo is in the room, but shows no guilt whatsoever. She tells him gently that having an older brother is a good thing, and that the family will treat Fang Shiyuan well. Zhang Yinyuo forces a smile and says yes. One by one, the pieces of his world shift beneath his feet. His second sister, his fourth sister, his father's discipline, the homecoming banquet that will announce everything publicly. Every certainty he has lived on for 18 years is quietly loosening. That evening at the villa, the entire family is assembled, performing warmth. Su Yu Weihua comes toward Fang Shiyuan the moment he walks in, face full of smiles, asking if he is settling in. Is he tired? He walks past her without stopping. He settles into a seat, and as he passes Zhang Yinyuo, he manages to knock the wig from his head, entirely by accident, of course. Zhang Yinyuo scrambles frantically to retrieve it, and the sisters are watching, and none of them say anything. Fang Shiyuan murmurs, just loud enough for the whole room to hear, "Bad luck coming off you. Better keep my distance." Zhang Wangxia's tolerance snaps, and Zhang Shengyu cuts across her immediately, warning eyes fixed on her. He then tells Fang Shiyuan that Wangxia is just in a bad mood, and not to take it to heart. Fang Shiyuan tilts his head thoughtfully, still carrying the sewage incident around. Is she? Honestly, given how many enemies she's made, is anyone surprised it happened? Zhang Wangxia's chest heaves. Fang Shiyuan stands and announces there is nothing worth saying to any of them, and heads for the door. Zhang Shengyu stops him. They need to discuss the homecoming banquet, he says. Certain details require input. Fang Shiyuan controls the entire dinner conversation from there, dropping in barbs and provocations and letting no one land a single question about Ming Hao. When his plate is empty, he heads upstairs. The Zhang family stares at their untouched food, too furious to eat. Later that night, Zhang Shengyu knocks on his bedroom door. He wants a connection to Ming Hao. Fang Shiyuan looks at him flatly. The Zhang family worthy of that? He shuts the door in his face. Meanwhile, Jang Yudong slips into Jang Yinuo's room and finds him sitting in front of the mirror, lost in his own thoughts. She wipes the tears from his face and tells him she will always be on his side. Then she mentions the campus forum posts still cannot be deleted, and as long as those posts stay up, the mockery won't stop. They reach out to Dark Ace again. The price, 500 crypto per post. 3 posts. Dark Ace offers a discount. 200 million total. Jang Yinuo nearly falls out of his chair. They have already spent a fortune on the family's fallout from the rooftop incident, and now this on top of it. They push Jang Yudong to negotiate. She refuses. The deep web is not a market stall. Jang Yinuo deploys his tears. She caves under the pressure and sends the message. Dark Ace's response, 300 million. Jang Yinuo stares at the screen and goes completely blank. Who negotiates their way to a higher number? In the end, with no other option, they agree, pull every source available, involve both families, and send payment. Less than a minute later, all 3 posts vanish. Jang Yudong is awed by the speed. Her admiration for her idol surging while simultaneously feeling like her heart is bleeding. One morning not long after, Fang Shiyuan comes downstairs to find the entire family assembled at the table. Chopsticks unlifted, all of them waiting for him. Every face performing warmth and welcome, fussing, attentive. The picture of a real and loving family. He finds it almost funny. The people who had looked down on him in his past life, who insulted and tormented him without a second thought, are now wagging their tails. He doesn't want it anymore, especially not from these people. At breakfast, he keeps at it, finding fault at every turn. Whatever Jang Yinuo reaches for, he takes first. The moment Yinuo glances at him twice, he gets in ahead. Then, when Zhang Wangxia speaks up for Jang Yinuo, he turns to her directly. Wangxia, is there something going on between you and Jang Yinuo that we don't know about? Why else would you be this devoted to an adopted son? Jang Yinuo leans toward her and murmurs, that's just how he is, a boy from the countryside, completely without manners. He doesn't realize Fang Shiyuan catches every word. Of course I have no manners, Fang Shiyuan says, voice flat and cool. Haven't you all been saying I'm just a country boy? The people who were supposed to be raising me were busy raising you. He stands, grabs both edges of the table, and flips it. Then he walks out, fuming, not performing rage, but genuinely feeling it, which is rare and tells him something. Behind him, screams rise from the dining room. Zhang Shanyu strikes Yue Hua for the scene. He strikes Zhang Wangxia. He rebukes Zhang Yinuo. The household fractures further with every passing day. 2 months pass in what feels like an instant. Every day, Fang Shiyuan stirs up trouble in the Zhang household, keeping it in a constant state of chaos. The 5 sisters, Zhang Shanyu, Yue Hua, all of them take turns pressing him for the main hall connection. Every attempt gets deflected, every approach through Shen Wanqing hits a wall. Zhang Shanyu's patience is wearing thin. His manner toward Fang Shiyuan has cooled from what it was. The only thing stopping him from going afar is the Tang family name standing behind the boy. He cannot afford to lose. And then Zhang Wangxia finally snaps. In class, in front of everyone, she stares at Fang Shiyuan's blank exam paper and unleashes, calling him a waste of educational resources, telling him even a pig would outscore him, telling him to go back to the fields. 2 months of forced restraint, and this is what comes out. Zhang Yinuo cannot resist. He adds, it's hardly surprising someone from the countryside handed in a blank paper. He only got in because his family bought his way in. By Qingxi, Sichunana, and Feng area pile on. Zhang Wangxia makes no move to stop them. She is watching Fang Shiyuan, waiting for the temper. He sits completely calm, not a word of theirs landing on him, and the absence of a reaction only makes her angrier. Teacher, he cuts across her mid-sentence. I handed in a blank paper because the exam was too easy. I don't pay attention in your class because your teaching isn't worth paying attention to. And everything you teach, I already know. There is nothing about you worth learning from. The classroom goes silent. Shen Wanqing, sitting beside him, lets out a burst of laughter and adds that Teacher Zhang may be a bit slow and dim, but she isn't entirely without merit. They should be considerate of people with limitations. Zhang Wangxia's face goes dark as a storm. She pulls out a practice exam and demands he solve it on the spot to prove he isn't all talk. Zhang Yinuo immediately senses an opportunity and steps in. If it's so dull, why not make it interesting? How about a wager? 2 months of suppression, and he desperately needs an outlet. He is certain Fang Shiyuan got lucky with that first problem on day 1. 2 months of watching him hand in blank papers has only reinforced that certainty. His terms: if Fang Shiyuan outscores him, Yinuo cleans the toilets for a month. If not, Fang Shiyuan does. Fang Shiyuan wrinkles his nose. Too small. Not interesting. He thinks for a moment. I prefer something tangible. I guess you all have property in your names? Zhang Yinuo goes rigid. Property is his last line of security. His escape plan if everything else collapses. But Zhang Wangxia has already marked Yinuo's paper. She knows he performed exceptionally. The final question, slightly beyond the syllabus, cost him 10 points. But every other question he only dropped a points across, giving him 98 of the non-final marks. And the final question, no student in the entire school had managed to solve. She gives Zhang Yinuo a subtle nod of reassurance from behind the group. His confidence fully restored. Zhang Yinuo agrees. Bai Qingxi jumps in with her own properties on the line. Feng area follows. Sichu Nana, Zhang Yudong. They pin their mocking stares on him, certain he cannot cover all of them. No one in the class moves to back him up. Then Shen Wanqing speaks. I'll back him. If he loses, all compensation comes from me. And if you win, the Sichu family's Manhwa medicine supply continues. How's that? The moment Manhwa enters the room, the entire class goes quiet. They have all heard enough from their families to know exactly what those 3 words represent. They change their tune immediately. Deal. As long as you introduce us to someone from Manhwa. Shen Wanqing agrees with perfect ease. Before touching the paper, Fang Shiyuan goes through every property detail with Zhang Yinuo and the others. Works out rough valuations. Writes his own down. Makes sure there's no room to pay him off with the cheap ones when he wins. Then he takes the paper and begins. Fast, clean strokes. The pen never pauses. He moves at a pace that suggests he isn't thinking at all. Zhang Wangxia and Zhang Yinuo are completely confident, watching him work, already calculating the Manhwa reward they will tell their families about. Half an hour passes. Fang Shiyuan drops the finished paper in front of Zhang Wangxia. Teacher Zhang, take a good look. Inwardly contemptuous at his speed, she begins marking. Her expression of disdain gradually shifts into something heavier. Every answer is correct. She goes back over each question multiple times. Not a single error. How 2 months of blank papers and he completes this without a mistake. Then she reaches the final question and her pupils contract sharply. He hasn't just solved it. He has laid out several different approaches. She herself only knows one method. She flips back to the first page and goes through the entire paper again, hunting for anything she might have missed, any place she can take a point. Fang Shiyuan leans forward. Teacher Zhang, don't waste everyone's time. How many times have you been through it now? Just tell us the result. Every student in the class is watching. Zhang Wangxia has no choice but to say it. Fang Shiyuan, full marks. Those 2 words detonate across the classroom. Full marks. Not just a win. Full marks. The final question included. Zhang Yinuo and the others look ready to collapse, 2 properties each, on top of everything they have already lost. Bai Qingxi shrieks, snatches the paper, looks it over again and again, tick after tick in red, the score blazing at the top. Bai Qingxi, Fang Shiyuan says without mercy, do you actually have the brain to understand what you're reading? The words are too cutting. She flushes with fury. Zhang Wangxia steps in, trying to defend a shred of dignity. Fang Shiyuan matches her and raises the volume. When I was being humble, you called me a pig. Is this how you teach? You and Bai Qingxi are alike. One approach to the final question and not a single one more. What would you call that if not a failure of thinking? Zhang Wangxia, cornered, decides to gamble. She claims she knew all the approaches he wrote, that she was simply going to walk the class through them. Who could prove she hadn't? Fang Shiyuan smiles. In that case, there are 2 additional methods I didn't write. Not enough space on the paper. I'd be grateful if Teacher Zhang could walk us through them. Silence stretches. Zhang Wangxia searches urgently, finds nothing but blank, and the silence becomes its own answer. Surely not. Teacher Zhang, if you don't know, you're welcome to humbly ask me. I won't laugh. Zhang Wangxia grips the paper until her knuckles show. Then, in a move that surprises everyone, she admits plainly that she doesn't know and invites him to the front to explain them to the class. He goes up without a word, writes out both remaining methods in swift, confident strokes, flicks the chalk into the box with precise aim, and looks at her. Teacher John, anything wrong with these? Her face cycles through shades of pale and flushed. Finally, she manages something that resembles a compliment. The student surpasses the teacher. And then she smiles and announces, since he is so capable. How about she sets a few problems to verify whether this is consistent ability, or whether the paper was obtained in advance? Bai Qingxi is immediately on it. The paper was distributed beforehand. If the questions were copied and arranged for in advance, full marks and the final solution wouldn't be difficult at all. A flicker of hope rises in Fang area and the others. Fang Shiyuan agrees with complete calm. Fine, no problem. Zhang Wangxia turns to the blackboard and writes out a problem without hesitation. Both he and Shen Wanqing look at the familiar problem on the board and feel quietly amused. It is a problem from an account on social media. The renowned physics figure known as Zero. Zero posts difficult problems for specialists and enthusiasts to work through. And this particular one was posted not long ago. A problem Zhang Wangxia herself has not been able to solve. She is using Zero's own problem to test him. What she cannot possibly know, what she could not imagine in her wildest dreams, is that Zero is Fang Shiyuan? Zhang Wangxia covers her moment of guilt by announcing that since the problem has some difficulty, if he can solve it, they will accept his ability as real. Fang Shiyuan's interest is piqued. How about this? Teacher Zhang and I both write our solutions on the board at the same time. I'd like to assess whether her position actually matches her ability. Let everyone judge for themselves. Zhang Wangxia hesitates. She knows she cannot solve it. But before she can think of a way out, Zhang Yinyuo speaks up first, urging her to compete. Convinced this is the moment Fang Shiyuan will finally be exposed. Zhang Yudong and the others follow immediately. They all want Zhang Wangxia to go ahead and prove he cheated. Zhang Wangxia is trapped. She thinks, fine, the problem is so advanced. She is certain nobody in this room can solve it. She will write something complex looking. Make it appropriately impressive, and who will know the difference? She agrees. They take their places on opposite sides of the board. The countdown begins. Both pick up chalk. Zhang Wangxia writes without hesitation, transplanting Zero's solution process from a different problem, one she has memorized cold, banking on no one knowing the difference. Fang Shiyuan holds his chalk and does nothing, performing the picture of someone deep in thought. Zhang Yudong and the others feel excitement rising. If he cannot solve it, the wager is void. The properties stay, and Shen Wanqing owes them the Ming Hall introduction. Then Fang Shiyuan sets down his chalk. He is done. Before Zhang Wangxia has finished, the divider between their boards is removed. His side is blank. Zhang Wangxia almost can't hold back her laughter. Then Fang Shiyuan speaks quietly into the charged silence. Teacher Zhang, writing something down doesn't mean it's correct. And not writing anything down doesn't mean I've lost. Zhang Wangxia looks at her own board. Then she looks at his. She reads it, then reads it again. The smile on her face freezes. He has solved it, completely, correctly, in his head, and simply chose not to write until this moment. Inside, she is in turmoil. How? This was Zero's problem, posted not long ago, and nobody had solved it yet, and the solution on the board in front of her is right. She even finds herself thinking involuntarily, so that's how you do it. But she cannot lose. She cannot be beaten by someone she has looked down on for 2 months. She picks up the chalk, walks to his side of the board, draws a large cross through his correct work, and condemns it in front of the class. The students, most of whom can barely understand the question, let alone check the answer, accept the teacher's authority and turn on Fang Shiyuan. They had thought he was brilliant. Turns out he cheated. The whispers spread. Then Shen Wanqing stands. The classroom turns to look at her. Fang area and the others feel a spark of excitement. They think she is finally seeing through him. I said Zhang Wangxia is stupid and vicious, Shen Wanqing says. Her voice carries across the room. She walks forward with a presence that makes Zhang Wangxia step backward before she realizes it, takes the chalk from her hand, pushes her aside, and turns to face the class. She runs through Zhang Wangxia's solution with pointed commentary, and then reveals that the work on her side of the board was transplanted from a different problem solution entirely, copied and presented as her own answer to this one. She walks through Fang Shiyuan's correct solution from start to finish. Her final summary: no ability, no competence, no integrity, unfit to stand in front of a classroom. Zhang Wangxia's legs feel unsteady beneath her. She demands, on what basis? Shen Wanqing pulls out her phone, connects it to the classroom display, and opens the social media account for Zero. the idol John Wangxia has been following, the figure she turned to for problems when her own ability ran out. She shows the class who Zero is. Then she scrolls to a previous post with a different problem and opens the comments, where someone has posted a solution. It is word for word what John Wangxia wrote on the board. She had copied a solution from a completely different problem and used it to fake her way through this one, then condemned a student's correct work with great conviction. The classroom erupts. The students, who had assumed teachers were beyond question, are looking at John Wangxia with entirely different eyes. Fang Shiyuan steps forward. John Wangxia, shouldn't you apologize to your students? She glares at him with poison in her eyes. He takes hold of her arm. She struggles and cannot move. Apologize to the class. I'm sorry. Too quiet. Can't hear you. I'm sorry. It was my fault. Louder, through gritted teeth. In front of every student she has looked down on. He releases her, retrieves the micro camera he had hidden in the stack of books on his desk, edits the footage together, and posts it. The full competition, the exposure, all of it, before the class has even ended. Shen Wanqing gets people moving immediately, and the video hits the trendy list. John Wangxia is hit with a wave of public outrage. Someone like this has no business educating anyone, the comments say, and the calls mount to get her out of the school, out of teaching entirely. Her personal information is dug up. She is the eldest daughter of the Zhang family, and the company takes the hit. Some users start calling for a boycott of Zhang family businesses. Fang Shiyuan's own identity emerges in the coverage. He is her biological brother, someone she was teaching while treating this way, and the revelation only intensifies the outrage against her. Zhang Wangxia is placed on temporary suspension by the school, pending investigation. The Zhang family company takes a severe blow that the PR responses they attempt barely dent. That evening, the Zhang family makes one last push. Everyone gathered in the living room, turning to Fang Shiyuan with careful faces, asking him to help the company through the crisis he created, to cooperate with a public statement clearing John Wangxia's name. Then Zhang Yinyuo drops to his knees with a thud and says, voice choked but obedient, whatever the condition, if Fang Shiyuan is willing to help, he agrees to it. The room goes still. The sisters feel something pull at them. After everything Yinyuo has endured, he would still humble himself this far for the family. Fang Shiyuan reaches out and grips him by the jaw. Helping isn't out of the question, but I have a condition. Zhang Yinyuo looks up earnestly. Whatever the condition, I agree. I want you to leave the Zhang family. Leave City A, never come back. Zhang Yinyuo's expression freezes solid. The sisters erupt. Zhang Wangxia shouts. Su Yu Wei Hua glares. Fang Shiyuan watches Zhang Yinyuo's tears fall, the most perfect, practiced tears, and feels nothing. He lets the room exhaust itself, then stands and heads for the stairs. He stops halfway up and turns back with a pleasant smile. By the way, has anyone actually looked carefully at the video? The angle is quite obvious. You can't tell whose position it was shot from. He shrugs. I suppose I'll have to tell you myself. Zhang Wangxia, Zhang Yinyuo, and Zhang Yudong identify the camera position in an instant. Zhang Wangxia rushes up the stairs and blocks his path, her face contorted with fury. He set her up. She screams. He backhands her across the face. If you didn't have real problems, there would have been nothing to catch you on. What I did was a service. Don't forget to transfer the properties. Zhang Wangxia, reputation destroyed, the properties lost, laughs bitterly and refuses. Fang Shiyuan's hand closes around her throat before she finishes the sentence, lifting her off the ground. She flails, cannot move an inch. Fear flashes through her eyes. Su Yu Wei Hua rushes forward, then meets his gaze, and her feet stop dead. At exactly that moment, Zhang Shanyu's phone rings. Ming Hall. The message is a warning directed at the entire Zhang family. If Fang Shiyuan is made unhappy, the family ceases to exist. Zhang Shanyu swallows the pain of what it cost him and speaks. Shiyuan, the properties. I'll have your sister and the others transfer them to your name. Fang Shiyuan drops Zhang Wangxia to the floor, dusts off his hands, and returns to his room. That night, sitting alone and looking at the mess the Zhang family has been reduced to, Fang Shiyuan opens social media and logs into the Zero account. He checks the inbox out of habit and finds a message from Zhang Wangxia. She is asking Zero to send a very difficult problem. She wants to host an academic event, she says, and needs a question for people to work through. He reads it once and knows exactly what she is actually planning. She wants to reclaim a win. Since she cannot do it on her own ability, she is going to borrow Zero's name. What she cannot have imagined in her wildest dreams is that Zero is the person she has been trying to destroy. He writes out a problem on the spot along with its solution, but he tampers with it. Something small and subtle enough that Jiang Wanxi's ability will never catch the error. Whatever play she is planning, it will only destroy what remains of her reputation. She will never have the chance to recover. Jiang Wanxi receives Zero's reply and is overwhelmed. She had been at the end of her rope, and now Zero had not only responded but sent the solution along with the problem. She is on her feet immediately, challenging him to another wager before dawn breaks. Her terms: if she wins, he goes online and publicly clears her name and helps the company through the crisis. If she loses, she will post under her real name admitting she is worthless. Fang Shiyuan agrees easily. First, he adds, she and Zhang Yinyuo and the others transfer the properties to him before the wager begins. Honor the last one before starting a new one. That night, Jiang Wanxi contacts the highly respected physicist Professor Wei Jiwan, sends him Zero's problem with the framing of watching a gifted student solve it, and Wei Jiwan agrees to attend the next afternoon as witness. At exactly the same moment, Wei Jiwan screenshots his entire exchange with her and sends it directly to Fang Shiyuan with a humble message: Zero, I get to see you again tomorrow. Fang Shiyuan presses his fingers to his temples. He replies, tomorrow, keep yourself in check. If you expose my identity early, I'll cut you off completely. The next morning at the school event, the principal has notified the entire student body that afternoon classes are suspended, so everyone can witness the competition and learn from Professor Wei. Jiang Wanxi writes the problem on the board with complete confidence, then steps back. Fang Shiyuan doesn't move. He asks conversationally, Teacher Zhang, did you write this problem yourself? She changes course and admits it came from elsewhere, and he immediately proposes. They both solve it at the same time. She is unhurried. She has memorized the solution. She agrees. They stand side by side at the board. The competition begins. Jiang Wanxi writes, without hesitation, her memorized solution flowing across her half of the board. On Fang Shiyuan's side, he holds the chalk and does nothing, performing perfectly. The picture of someone stuck. Zhang Yudong and the others are practically vibrating with excitement. Zhang Yinyuo watches with a complicated expression. If Fang Shiyuan loses, nothing changes and nothing is resolved. But the Zhang family will have a villain to despise together. Jiang Wanxi sets down her chalk first. The divider is removed. She looks at his blank board and almost can't hold back the laughter. She adopts a deliberately patient, generous tone. Student Fang, if you don't know, just put the chalk down. No need to push yourself. The teacher will walk you through it afterward. Fang Shiyuan listens to every word. Then he sets the chalk down calmly, deliberately, and speaks. Teacher Zhang, writing something down doesn't mean it's correct, and not writing anything down doesn't mean I've lost. Then he picks up the chalk, turns to the board, and in full view of the entire school, writes out the complete, correct solution, the one she could not see, the one Zero designed, the one she handed to him as a weapon believing it was hers. Jiang Wanxi looks at her own solution, already invalidated, because the problem she used was a tampered version, flawed at its foundation, and every step she so confidently wrote down is built on an error she never caught. The student body watches in silence as Professor Wei steps forward, examines both solutions, and delivers his verdict. One answer is wrong, and one answer is correct. Jiang Wanxi stands in front of the entire school, her reputation in ruins, her career in collapse, her last play turned against her by the very person she built it to destroy. And Fang Shiyuan turns to face the assembled crowd with a quiet, absolute certainty, because this is only the beginning, and every debt in this house will be paid in full.